I'm Andrea Burnett with Seattle Transit Community Outreach, and this is Stephen Mack, our West Seattle segment lead. So I'm going to give you an update, try to be brief, and then get into questions and answers. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the community engagement to date and then what's coming up. So if you've seen some of our presentations, this slide should be familiar to you. This really incorporates a lot of the decision-making points and the community involvement that goes along with that. We've got our neighborhood forums. We had one in West Seattle a little earlier in the spring, and our next one is coming up in September. I'll get to that. Our stakeholder advisory group is also meeting regularly, as well as our elected leadership group, and ultimately our Seattle Transit Board. And then I also want to highlight for you that we are out and about in the neighborhood this summer. We were at West Seattle Summerfest just a couple weeks ago. We'll be back for Delridge Day in a couple weeks. So look for us out there. And with that, I'll send it to Steve.
Thanks, Andrea. So since we last met, that's in April, we just received, talked to you about the level 1, our study results. And so today we would like to kind of bring everybody up to speed to the level 2 alternatives where we're at with the ST3 West Seattle Ballot Project. So just a quick, very fast refresh. We have a ST3 representative project. That's our starting point. What it does is, through the system planning, it identifies the mode. In this case, it's light rail corridor, the general corridor that is traveling through, the number of stations, general stations, locations where you can get on and off the light rail. And from that, it informs the cost, schedule, and operating needs that goes to the border package. For West Seattle Link Extension, it's scheduled open 2030, 4 elevator station at Soto, Delridge, Avalon, and Alaska Junction, 1 at-grade station at Stadium, 1 new rail-only fixed-span high-level crossing over the Duwamish. The length is 4.7 miles. The other part of the link extension is part of this project. Ballot Link Extension opens 2035, 3 elevator stations, Ballot, Inner Bay, and Smith Cove. And then followed by 6 tunnel stations: Seattle Center, South Lake Union, Danny, Westlake, Midtown, International District Chinatown Station. Also include a new rail-only movable bridge, which is right here, and also a tunnel through downtown Seattle. The entire length is 7.1 miles. West Seattle project timeline, we're in the planning phase, 2017 and 2022. Again, we're on the very first line of the planning stage, alternative development. Entering the design 2022 to 2025 with construction 2025 to 2030, start of service 2030. As for Ballard, we have the same, next slide. Oh, we don't have Ballard, okay. Good. So Ballard is open 2035 because of the tunnel. It takes a little bit more time for construction. That's why it's open in 2035. Closer look of the planning. We're in alternative development. In April 2019, the planning process, the Seattle Transit Board will identify the preferred alternative and all the alternatives to go into the EIS. And then we will enter into the EIS phase with a record of decisions sometime in 2022. Next. So once again, we are now in level 2. Today I'm going to give you the presentation where we talked about in level 1 and bring you up to speed to level 2. And then for level 3, we're going to do more screening, and again, the board identified preferred alternative in 2019. A quick recap, next slide, of the broad range of initial alternatives. We hope through this process we will help to work with the community and the Seattle Transit Board to kind of continue to refine the remaining alternatives through further evaluation. So, level 1 recommendations. First, I would like to bring you back to the first round of neighborhood forums for West Seattle. It happens on May 5th. I'm going to quickly summarize the major theme that we heard from the neighborhood forums in West Seattle. I'm going to start with this bubble and go clockwise. So what you see here is a map of all the level 1 alternatives. North is pointing that way. Downtown Seattle is up there. We've got the Harbor Island here, the Duwamish River over here, Soto area here, and this is the West Seattle Peninsula. I'm going to start with this bubble here. So from the neighborhood forums, we heard support for purple alignment, which is the one that crosses the Duwamish, entering into a tunnel and then tunnel into the Alaska Junction area. We heard support for shifting Delridge Station further south to serve the community better. We heard mixed opinions on consolidating stations. Some of the alternatives does have 2 stations instead of 3, so we heard mixed opinions on that. We also heard mixed opinions on the usage of open space, whether the alignment should go through the golf course or not go through the golf course. We heard mixed opinions on the junction station location. We heard, is it east or west of the junction or east of the junction where the development is happening. We heard support for north-south station orientation for the junction station in preparations for the future extension further south. We heard support for tunnel in the junction area. We also heard refinement ideas like consider tunnel on Oregon and 44th Avenue. We also heard consideration for tunnel from Avalon Station to station at Fort Roy, Alaska area. We also heard refinement ideas to consider shifting the golf course alignment further north to minimize the impact to the golf course. So this is the elected leadership group recommendation that basically follows a lot with the stakeholder advisory group. The only thing that they change is that stakeholder advisory group selected not to carry forward the West Seattle Golf Course tunnel, Alaska Junction tunnel options, but the elected leadership group has elected to carry that forward. So I'm going to go through all this data in graphics. They also have comments, which I'm going to show you in the alignment graphics map so it's easy to understand. And part of the recommendation is that there's not practical suggestions that would not be carried forward into level 2. Tunnel under the Duwamish, using the West Seattle Bridge to cross the Duwamish River, using gondola bus rail bridge, and also extension to Alki Admiral. Next. So this is the map showing to you the recommendation. The elected district group selected not to carry forward the West Seattle Bridge Fort Roy, which is the blue line that you see here, and also the one that goes through Yancey Street with 2 stations, elected not to carry forward. Carry forward includes the Sound Transit 3 representative project. Next. The Pigeon Ridge West Seattle Tunnel to be into level 2. Also the Oregon Street Alaska Junction elevated options, but explored instead of going on the north side of West Seattle Bridge, connected to the south side of the West Seattle Bridge. Similar to the last one that you see, Oregon Street Alaska Junction, but this time is in the tunnel after Avalon Station gets in the tunnel underneath the junction, and having a tunnel station at 44th Avenue. This is the golf course, shifting alignment to the north to minimize the impact to the golf course, and then adding the 3rd station between Darrell Ridge and Alaska Junction. Also, with additional feedback that we heard from the elected leadership group includes explore opportunities for Darrell Station to better serve the community to the south. Also explore shifting the Avalon Station west to straddle the Fort Roy Way southwest for better station access on both sides of Fort Roy. So from that input, Sound Transit developed the level 2 alternatives. And here is the level 2 alternatives here, which we still have, in addition to the ST3 representative project, we still have 4 alternatives that we're studying in level 2. So this is the map. So you can see that some of the lines are dropping, but as you can see just quickly, it looks like everything funnels through now Genesis, but there's also options on Genesis that we need to make and study. In level 2 include a high level elevated guideway versus a low level guideway on Genesis. Once you get to the Alaska Junction, we have tunnel station, tunnel alignment, we have elevated station, elevated alignment, and also there's generally 3 different crossing options that we're studying in level 2. So there's still choices that we need to study and understand. First is the SD3 representative project. So we're studying in level 2 right now. Next is the purple, which is the Pigeon Ridge. The only refinement that we made from level 1 is shifting the Avalon station to straddle over Fort Roy so that we have better access station on both sides of Fort Roy. Then we have the Oregon Alaska Junction elevated. We shift the alignment crossing instead of the north side of West Seattle Bridge to the south side of West Seattle Bridge crossing. Then we have, this is the new alternatives, which is the one that has the tunnel. We also shifted the Avalon Station, which is elevated, to straddle over Fort Roy for the same reason, to have better access on both sides of Fort Roy, and then entering the tunnel and having a tunnel station in Alaska Junction.
Hey, Stephen.
Yes.
Stop for a second. Do you guys have any kind of
yes.
handout? So maybe if it's hard to see on the screen, I think. Yeah, just so folks can take a look at exactly, this might be a little bit more clear inside.
I'll send some back towards the back too.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you, Amanda.
Yeah, I know our screen, it's, with the light, it's not
Yes,
huge,
yes.
and it's a lot of information
It
on the
is.
screen, so I think it's just a little helpful to have anybody else need a map?
There's more.
Can we take extra? Thank you. Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. So this is at the golf course Alaska Junction tunnel modified alternatives. We shifted the Delray station further to the south. Alignment shifted to the north edge of the golf course to avoid major 4F park impacts. We added the F1 station back, and this time we also have it straddle over a Fort Royal so that station access can be on both sides. We have the Alaska Junction station in the same, very similar vicinity as in the level 1 golf course alternative in the Fort Roy area. So one thing that we are, there's still opportunities for mix and match, so we're working on our level 2 studies to understand the strength of different part of all the alignment that I just showed you. So in hope that we can mix and match to find the best possible alternatives for this project. So here's an example of the mix and match. This is on the golf course alignment. So this is showing that the blue line is going into Fort Roy, but there's also options that you can, if you like the station location on 42nd on the purple, you could mix and match it to the 42nd tunnel station. If we study that it's a community and there's benefits to go 44th tunnel, there's also options to connect the blue line to 44th. Of course, there's limitations with engineering, so this is just showing one of the example for the tunnel options in the West Seattle Junction area. So next steps.
Next steps. I'll get into a little bit of next steps, what's coming up, and then we can take some questions. So we have some upcoming meetings. Our stakeholder advisory group is meeting on the 5th and also on the 26th. Of September, and in between that, we are going to be having our next round of neighborhood forums. The one in West Seattle is on September 8th. Next. So here are the neighborhood forums, open houses, and this feedback is really critical from you so that we can share that with the elected leadership group and the stakeholder advisory group before they make their recommendations. And again, West Seattle is on the 8th. And so with that, turn it over to you guys for questions on where we're at and what's coming up.
So with studying feasibility of tunnel in certain places and where a station can go underground, when do those studies kind of come into play to go, actually, the purple line was bananas, it's not feasible, we can't put it underground there, so we have to cross it out or come up with an alternative. When does that kind of information surface to the public and the stakeholder advisory group?
So we hope that part of that information, we're working on the studies first of all. You probably see on the block that we're doing some field work about Pigeon Ridge. So we're still waiting for that information to come as as the field work is still happening. So we hope to give an update through the level 2 different criteria at the neighborhood forum. We hope to give you up-to-date information. We might not have the final feasibility study done yet at that time, but we'll provide an update on that.
Sure, and are more of the studies regarding the Delridge station, or are there additional concerns with the stations in Avalon and Alaska Junction for feasibility?
That's also being studied too, but right now the field work is scheduled on Pigeon Ridge. The Pigeon Ridge does have, there's a slide zone, there's a major slide zone on both sides of the ridge, so that's the one that we really want to study and make sure that, to see if it's feasible or not. Yeah, we'll study that. Thanks.
Come to the neighborhood forum.
Yeah, so at the next neighborhood forum, what type of information what type of feedback are you looking to get from the community? Are you presenting these ideas and?
So it's been kind of a mix of maybe what some of these station planning ideas that we're unearthing now, and also really we're Stephen's working really hard on a lot of these more technical studies, and we're hoping to present to you some more quantitative criteria and evaluation on, cost, feasibility, land use, those kind of development possibilities. So that's what the feedback we're looking at there is to really weigh those trade-offs, weigh the opportunities, and also the constraints. So we're looking for the community feedback at that point so that we can communicate that to our board and the elected leadership group and the stakeholder advisory group, make recommendations.
Just to add to that, I'm still waiting very eagerly
Yes.
on the results.
Oh, yes.
I was consulting and studying that.
Right.
I have not received that information yet.
Right.
So I'm also waiting eagerly on that.
And since we went through the line possibility information fast, is there anything anybody would like to see again? And maybe
Yeah.
we can try and make the screen bigger or any additional
Let's go back to that
Is
map.
this presentation online?
Yes.
Yes, a lot of this information, I believe, is on the stakeholder advisory group.
Yep.
Okay.
I'd be happy to send you guys a link.
Yeah.
And if you send me a link, I'll send everyone a follow-up
Okay.
to this
Yeah.
meeting so that we have access to
What's-
the information. Okay.
Wasn't there some conceptual drawings, artistic renderings? I'm just trying to imagine these stations in the air.
We're getting closer to some of that.
Yeah, given the height of the buildings already.
We're hoping to have some more visual information at the neighborhood.
Yeah.
They'll be key in helping people make decisions.
Can you go over a little bit, which ones of the options actually have a tunnel?
Yeah, I can go through this. Let me look there. I might be going in too fast, so. Oops.
If you're looking at your printout material, the lines that you're seeing that have the smaller dots mean that it's an underground, it's a tunnel and an underground station. And the longer dashes, so the orange and the red are above ground or an elevated rail guideway with an elevated station. And okay, and so the brown is the underground version of the orange, basically.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so right now, what's been pushed forward is 3 tunnel options, and then we're looking also at 2 elevated and above ground station options with varying heights
Height.
of the track,
Yeah.
correct, depending on
Where,
yeah.
exactly. So that's the deep study that we're in right now, preparing for level 2 alternatives.
And I did the walking tour earlier this week of possible stations of where they could go, and it is useful, because, you're looking at a map going, oh, that's good, but
Yeah.
when you're walking around, it's very useful to go, and the station would go here, and this building needs to jump out of the way somehow, and
On
the
one of the
sidewalks,
alternatives,
right.
yeah.
But, and even when you're thinking about the tunnel concepts, it's nice to be able to go to the street that's, here at these intersections and go, okay, I can see how people could enter a station at this northwest corner and also at this, southwest corner, so on and so forth. So I do think as the options get more narrow, it would be amazing if Sound Transit could do more walking tours that are open to a wider.
I think that's a really good idea. In the past, we've also done self-guided ones,
Yeah,
printed instructions
That's
for
great,
people to
too.
go, but I think it's nice to have someone from Sound Transit with you to answer questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I'm happy to share any information that you do have about, any kind of self-guided walking tour. But I think that does give people a better idea and a concept of what we're really talking about as opposed to a line on a map. And that when you go to the neighborhood workshops and forums, you have a little bit more of a basis of an
Someone had
opinion.
done that for us, I guess informally, and had the trestle superimposed on actually going into the street.
Tomas had done that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
amazing.
Right. So just do these 5. I'm sure you have plenty
No,
of
I feel like
time.
something on the Seattle one that had some.
Yes.
So just to make sure that I have this, that the blue option is a tunnel, and the station would be at Pomeroy and Alaska, but not be on, for example, California, Alaska. And it would continue south, eventually making its way down here.
Yeah, so a lot of this would have a tail track. The tail track was required for the train to turn the train.
Oh,
That's why you see the line goes beyond the station.
But that one would be underground. The
Yes,
second one underground would be at like last and 42nd.
correct.
Okay, and the third one would be at like 44th.
44th,
And the last.
correct. It's on the
three
private.
underground stations.
Yes.
Are the above ground, like the Oregon above ground rail, is that actually still being considered?
We're directed to study, so it was part of the elected leadership group to direct us to study.
That's
So
right,
we're
actually
still
runs
studying.
through this building.
Right.
So we're studying it, and we know that. Yeah.
So is like a track gonna go over the top of this building?
They go right through it.
We'll have
You have
to
to
go
put bolts
through.
on.
Yeah.
You have to go through the building?
No. It's an elevated pathway that's going
Over
through
the top
here,
of
over the top. So
Of this building,
yeah.
according to this?
You have to have posts, right?
If that,
So,
if that.
go
So it's
right.
an elevated guideway with columns, being
Yeah, I guess
that is
that.
needed to support
But
the
it's
guideway.
actually been, because of the curve, it has to go over the building.
Yes.
Ah.
So that's why it's really important to
Yeah.
show up at the workshops and go, that's bananas.
Right, and anybody who would support an overhead elevated track like that has obviously never been to West Seattle. I mean, to the junction. Because if they have been, there's no way anybody would support that. Which one of these remaining underground options, I don't know which one is best, but certainly an elevated option for someone who's ever been here has to realize that it's completely feasible.
I think one of the promising things that has come out of all of the community feedback and the stakeholder advisory group and elected leadership even, is that the evaluation of 3 different tunnel options. I think that's positive. The fact that we're not looking
It
at
is.
above ground or underground, these are your choices. But I think it's important for everyone to stay involved and to talk to your neighbors and make sure they know about the workshops or even how to comment online, which I'll share. Because it's important to continue to advocate for, like you're saying, a junction that isn't impacted by a 60-foot tall, light
Right,
rail
as far as the
station.
decision makers goes, have all of the potential decision makers actually been here and physically looked at the area in the
A
junction?
lot of them are your representatives from elected leadership group, Lisa Verbal, Joe McDermott, so yes.
From West Seattle.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
And the stakeholder advisory group, they also join the walking tour too.
Right.
So they visualize it.
Yeah.
So hopefully the next go around, we can hope the elevated option will be offered too.
But your comment and your comment and your voice is important in this process.
It is.
Oh, I've seen some of
Yes.
I should, as Amanda mentioned, I should mention that we will have an online, I know sometimes meetings are very hard for everyone to get to. We'll have an online component where you can submit your comment that will also get recorded and get wrapped into all of the comments that make it to the elected leadership group.
And I know the final decision when we come up to April is really the Sound Transit Board.
Yes.
Is there a requirement that they have to look those possibilities? Or, what if everybody all together, stakeholder advisory group, the community, elected leadership go, this is what it is, and it's a tunnel, and this is what we think, but ultimately, the Sound Transit Board could go with a different option. So, are there ways to,
Yes, contact them.
yeah,
And absolutely, I'd be happy to share that link with you. I mean, Mayor Griffin is on
Okay.
our board. A lot of other people that represent you are also on the board. So, but we are a tri-county RTA, and so there are people from all around the region on our board.
we'll invite them over.
See,
if
see,
we
like
want.
we
could do something like the drone that went on the roof.
Right.
Picture of exactly what was under where they proposed it.
Yes.
Yes, I was wondering, would any elevated track be the same dimensions as what is being installed in Bellevue right now? Like at the Bellevue Way intersection, would it be the same size as
So
that?
very, very similar.
Width-wise? Okay, so how, there we go.
Why does this
So-
go?
How would you put that up any of these streets?
And that's part of our study that we're
Okay.
studying all that.
Because the
Yeah.
tilings would either take out residential or it would take up the entire width of the road.
And that's exactly what we're
exactly what
studying, and that is the result that we're going to present
Okay.
all the information to our decision.
Impacts to residents and the businesses are very important to our study and our
But
evaluation.
the guideway, the double track, is
Same
very
trains.
similar.
Okay.
Same trains.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that,
Same
if any of
double
you
tracks.
want to see what that would look like, go on 90 and take the Bellevue Way exit. And you guys are building right now, and it's really big, and the construction's been going on for a really long time, and it'll be a really big impact.
Big project.
Or if you want to see how high it can get, if you've taken the light rail to the airport, down through Tukwila, I mean, it can get pretty high, but again, it's the pilings, where are they gonna go? And there's stations, and then are these gonna be, I'm trying to imagine a station, are these gonna be more like platforms? Not like a full-fledged station, like I think of like Tukwila,
Capitol
and that's
Hill.
enormous.
So
If it's gonna be in the air, would it look like Tukwila? That's huge.
yeah, so
These would just be
we
on
do
scale,
not have
you know?
we do not have those details, but
Okay.
it's a similar type of platform. You know, right now it's similar platform, 2 tracks on each side.
Right.
So if you go to Northgate, one with the mezzanine, that one would be a very
That's a
good
very good
example. If you want to get a feel for like what an underground station looks like, it's a Capitol Hill station may be a very good example of the size and the feel for it. So,
Okay.
Any other questions or